This is about the specimen collection, packaging, and transport consideration for mpox detection. We will start it off by mentioning that the recommended test for mpox is nucleic acid amplification. This can either be real-time or conventional PCR, and the PCR is done on material that is collected from the actual lesions of mpox. Just quickly, some biosafety considerations for those who will be assigned to do specimen collection is that all specimens collected for investigation for mpox, these are all potentially infectious and should be handled with caution. The objective should be to minimize the risk of transmission based on the local risk assessment. All personnel that will be collecting samples should wear the appropriate PPE to protect against contact and droplet transmission. And to remember to ensure safe work practices, this would include the proper doubling and doffing of the PPE, keeping the hands away from the face, limiting touching of surfaces, changing gloves, and performing hand hygiene. So very important also is to review your processes with the staff who shall be tasked to do specimen collection, storage, packaging, and transport. At your healthcare facility, dapat po makapag-prepare po kayo, and that includes retraining or reorienting your staff if needed. So important po dito yung to go through the and review the process of how to collect specimens. Earlier, may present a video po ang ating dermatology department from RFTM. This will be a very good reference so you'll know the actual technique of how to do it. Also, part of your review should be to look at the pathogen safety data for mpox, and makikita niyo po doon, among other things, would be yung, what would be the effective disinfectant. And this had been mentioned earlier in the infection prevention and control guidelines and lecture. So this was also mentioned in the video. You should explain the procedure to be done to the patient or to the guardian because multiple specimens will be taken, and this would cause some pain or discomfort because the method would be to vigorously swab the lesion. So maganda po na ma-prepare natin ng patient so that any sudden movements ma-minimize, yung risk will be also minimized yung pagkakang undue exposure for the one collecting the specimen. We did mention yung mga materials required, which would include yung pang-prepare ng site, yung pang-collect ng swab, and where to put the swab. In the latest guidelines po ng RITM, we do not recommend anymore the use of sharp instruments like the disposable scalpel or plastic scraper. Instead of using such sharp instruments, you can use forceps or blunt instrument for removal of the crust or the scab if you encounter such before. Yung swab natin should be synthetic, can either be that of rayon or polyester. Do not use cotton swabs because this would cause an interference in the subsequent PCR test that will be done. Yung shaft of the swab should be rigid enough to allow the one collecting the specimen to do rigorous swabbing motion. If you note or if you have used before yung NPS, that might probably be too soft. So yung rigidity na sinasabi natin dito would be like that of the pharyngeal swab. It will allow you to really do vigorous swabbing. VTM or virus transport media is not required. So this is what you call a dry swab. So your swab will just be placed in a sterile container. These are some examples of the specimen collection materials that you can prepare at your facility if you are planning to do specimen collection for suspect mpox cases. So we have the swab. It should be sterile and synthetic and rigid enough to allow vigorous swabbing. We have a Ziploc or resealable plastic bags, a parafilm to secure the cover of the container that you'll be using. Example na primary container would be a cryovial and a secondary container would be a conical tube. These are just examples. Ang important po is that you will place the swab in a sterile plastic or non-glass na container that can accommodate the swab or the tissue that you will be collecting. And uh, recommended po talaga yung two-cup cover to prevent dislodging of the cover during transport. Also, yung secondary container natin should be large enough to accommodate the primary container. Again, do not use glass containers to minimize yung possibility of breakage. And ensure na sterile din po natin na containers. The preferred specimen is the lesional material from the characteristics in lesions of mpox. The objective of the collection would be to get as many virus-infected cells as possible. And you can see those cells in the actual skin lesion. So, if you get enough cells, may malaki yung chances na successful yung lab testing natin. Best to sample would be those fresh fluid-filled lesions, and more viruses are recovered from these lesions than from the older ones. Ang target po ng ating collection should be the fluid and base of the lesion. Scabs and crusted lesions, if the mpox suspect case presents with na ganito yung lesion niya, may also be sampled and collected, especially po ng lesion. Yung latest guidelines natin, we do mention here that unproofing of the lesion and aspiration using sharp instrument is not necessary and not recommended due to risk of injury. Vigorous swabbing alone will be enough to unroof the vesicle and to be able to swab the base. So, ang guideline natin is to swab at least two lesions from different parts of the body and place them in a single container. If you recover the roof when you are doing the vigorous swabbing, place it in a separate sterile container and later specimen properly. Towards the right of this slide, you'll see na merong hawak yung nagpo-collect na absorbent material because there may be instances when you sample a lesion na may mga fluid na lalabas. So you just place an absorbent material near that para ma-prevent yung further spread ng fluid with our collecting. So put the swab in a container and put the roof if you get it in a separate container. For crust or scab, ito po yung itsura niya. Get crust or scab of this size, 4 millimeters by 4 millimeters at least. Any scab or crust that you get that is smaller than this, malaki yung chance na we can get it of the DNA to do the PCR. So ito po yung recommended natin na size. This is almost half a centimeter. Place it in a separate sterile container and label the specimens properly. Yung question is, how do you get it? You can use a forceps or a blunt instrument to lift off the scab and to place it into the container. So sa number of samples, again, multiple samples may be collected depending on the stage of the skin lesion. So kung nando ka sa stage that there are active characteristic lesions of mpox, get two swabs from the lesion base from two different locations in the body. Put those two swabs in a single container. If you get the roof, you put it in a separate sterile container. If you have scabs or crust of the size of 4 millimeters by 4 millimeters, you put it in a separate sterile container. So yung sample natin na primary container, yung cryobia, so you put the tissue there, yung conical tube is an example of a secondary container. So label the containers with the patient's name, the date of collection, what was the type of specimen collected, the location, and make sure na cross-check yung information with the CIF because it is a requirement when you do the specimen collection on a fully accomplished case investigation form. Use black letters as a good practice para hindi po magkamali sa pag-asa ng name or information. Use indelible markers because we have experience that if it is soluble in water, pwede po ma-wash away yung label at magka-problem sa identification ng sample. So, since you are using a swab, maliit yung container natin, part of it may stick out. So, carefully use a scissors, pair of scissors to cut the excess part of the swab and close the coral vial tightly. So, you can secure it with paraffin to prevent leakage during transport. So, it's possible that when you sample the lesion, it can be a wet lesion. So, possible pa rin may fluid that can come out of the container if it's not properly secured. Place the container inside the second container, which is large enough to accommodate it. Make sure, and it's not shown here in the picture, you have it an absorbent material before placing it inside the contact tube. So this is just for illustration purposes. So you place the sample, primary container placed in the secondary container in the Ziploc bag or resealable plastic bag in a transport box upright with both packs around 6 to 8 that are frozen. When you close the box, make sure to disinfect the external part of it prior to transport, and that would be for the safety of the lab staff that will be accepting specimens. Don't forget the documents. We have a fully accomplished case investigation form, and we also have a lab request form for RITMs because currently the testing is done for RITM. Do not put the documents inside the transport box. You secure it outside at the external portion. Yung objective po natin is to maintain po temperature uh, while the sample is being transported. Yung range po natin is 2 to 8 degrees Celsius during transport. That's why you need the cold box inside the transport box. If you intend to or anticipate delays in collection or transport of the specimen, you may store it in a freezer at a negative 20 degrees or lower with the temperature monitoring. We put an X here because we do not really encourage na magtagal a specimen in your facility. As much as possible, coordinate na siya agad through your epidemiology and surveillance units para transport na siya to RITM or kung ano yung magiging arrangement in the locality. Because there are times na pinapadiretso na yan sa RITM, just that the surveillance unit is well informed na merong sample na pinaglasan. If you are going to store it, do not store it in a freezer or refrigerator that will contain vaccines, medicine, and food. So some reminders after collecting, yung sa PPE that is borne by the specimen collector should be removed properly and disposed in accordance with the infection prevention and control guidelines. And any reusable equipment should also be disinfected and set aside for reprocessing. Yung needles or other sharp instruments, again, we do not encourage use of them. We just wanted to highlight it here kasi may time na send yung sharp or needle with the sample. So each specimen should be labeled with the patient's name, the collection date, the type of specimen, the locations from which these specimens were taken. So I put together some of the frequently asked questions in anticipation that when we have these webinars, we always get these questions. Where do we send specimens for testing? So currently, RITM is the only confirmatory testing lab for MPOX doing the PCR. But efforts are underway. The DOH is exerting efforts to activate more laboratories. This would include the subnational laboratories po natin in several key regions, as well as additional COVID-19 molecular labs that will offer MPOX as an additional service to improve access to testing. Yes, that preparations are underway para activate po na. How long before tests come out? So yung RITM, we currently use an in-house laboratory developed test. We are not using a commercial PCR test. It has two tests. One would be to confirm if it's MPOX, and the second is to tell us if it's class 1 or 2. Ang turnaround time po natin is 48 to 72 hours to allow repeats. Although when results are available already, these are released as per the protocol. Frequently asked question also is who will collect the specimen? Is it the doctor, the nurse, or the medical technology? So in general, yung specimen should be collected by a healthcare worker who knows how to use the PPE properly and is adequately oriented in the proper procedure of collection from clinicians. So important yung mga webinars like this or references, and I put it in the reference section of this presentation for readings and additional tutorial videos aside from the video prepared by our technology department on how to collect the lesional material. We really cannot generalize whether doctor, nurse, medtech collect because staffing situations vary across facilities. Ang important po dito na message is that there should be facility level preparations so that your processes nyo in your facilities are clear when a suspect case is encountered. So from detecting the case to collecting specimens and then having it transported to the testing lab. How many samples should we collect? Again, 2 swabs from different locations in a single container. A VTM is not required. The roof, if required, we put it in a separate container. You can also sample the stab or the thrust, but with this size, 4 millimeters by 4 millimeters at least, in another separate container. So may reason po yan why we separate those samples. It's because iba po yung treatment pagka tissue versus a swab. So yun po yung part ng SOP natin sa testing. What if we do not have disposable scalpels or scrapers? Again, the use of sharp instrument is not recommended. Vigorous swabbing alone may already remove the lesion. So for collection of scabs naman or crusted lesions, a forceps or blunt instrument may be used to lift up the scab and to put it in the container. Will RITM provide specimen collection materials? So ang answer po dito is no. Yung specimen collection materials are in general available in the healthcare facilities like the prep pack, synthetic na swab, yung forceps, mga sterile scope up primary container, yung secondary container, transport boxes. But the DOH is working to provide Centers for Health Development or regional offices natin with specimen containers that may support the specimen collection activities. Ang message ko dito is that yung healthcare facility should be able to include in their preparations yung mga ganitong klaseng materials that will facilitate the specimen collection aside from orienting your staff on how to collect the specimen. Can we use styrofoam boxes for the transport box? Again, we can prescribe, just make sure that you are using a transport box that will be rigid to prevent leakage and breakage during transit and can maintain the appropriate shipping temperature conditions of 2 to 8 degrees Celsius. Again, a reminder to not forget to disinfect the external surfaces of the transport box prior to shipment. So how do we refer samples and how do we transport samples? So meron pong na-mention na DOH Department Random 2024-0306 updated guidelines on MPOX. Yung referral is through the local epidemiology and surveillance unit. Consult your CHD or SU for the local arrangements for transport and referral. Because again, this would differ according to your locality and situation. Supplement the guidelines with the RITM guidelines for specimen collection, transport, and referral, as well as our biosafety guidelines, which are both available on our website and I think widely shared na sa mga network po. A frequently asked question also is, are there commercially available PCR kits? Answer po dito is that there are commercial PCR kits for MPOX, but currently there are no FDA authorized commercial MPOX PCR kits in the market. And we were informed that FDA guidelines are currently being prepared to address this, that maging available ang commercial PCR kits. So this would actually make things easier para sa activation of additional labs because medyo mas complicated po yung in-house assay and commercial PCR kits would be upper recommended rate po in terms of wider mpox testing. So, do we sequence mpox samples? So, yung mga nag-positive po na mpox samples, these are referred before sequencing. Both RITM and PDC are capable of doing it, and the objective is to determine the subclat and lineage and determine how related the detected mpox is to the ongoing outbreak. This is just a picture showing the guidelines for specimen collection, handling, transport for mpox, as well as our biosafety guidelines. These are available in the website of RITM. These are the references, and we will be sharing the presentations po. So you can click on these references, and meron po ditong mga online course will give you more information to supplement your knowledge on mpox, especially for the laboratory side, for guidelines on how to collect samples. And that's my last slide, and thank you for your attention.